Good morning, everyone. Today is Thursday, March 28th. This is the last trading day in the U.S. stock market for the week as we come into Holy Thursday, Good Friday, and the celebration of the resurrection. And so we're going to start with gold. And the reason we're starting with gold is because, as I mentioned earlier in the week, we had a big currency event with the Bank of Japan, and gold is sending the signal twofold. One, that commodities are seeing quite a bit of life, and two, there could be some interesting developments in the currency markets over the weekend. And so we see gold continuing to climb. The formation for gold is the following. You definitely want to buy the dip, but here is what the volatility bands are saying, right? This area is not a key zone to be buying at this particular juncture. You're going to find better value as the overnight traders who are very long pull back into frontline support. I like this area of old resistance, new support somewhere around 2190. Optimally, it would be awesome if it could come into, say, 2185, 2182, and then show pressure bounce. You're going to get your best bets if you are sitting in an upward trend. It touches the lower band here in the double smooth stochastic and pulls back and begins to bounce. That's where you're going to see that motion. And to me, it looks like it's either the 30 exponential, or it could be the 8 exponential, depending on the strength. But now is the time to close some of those longs. All right, let's zip on back to SPY. And we've got some pretty interesting things. I have two triggers. One of them triggered on the bounce out, and then one of them triggered at the bounce out again, and then one of them triggered at the retest, and now one of them triggered at the bounce out again. So the question is, do we stay sideways or do we move to the north? So here's my thought. My thought is this is a sideways formation. It's got a lot of bullish traction associated with it. So here's what you want to do. If it gets up over 523 into the morning hours, it's worthwhile chasing it into 524, right? But you don't want to stay there. Why? Because momentum is less coming up into old resistance zones than it is right now. It is rising, which is telling us, hey, listen, you buy the dip, but you're going to get a better risk event if you wait for it to come into maybe congestion around level congestion zone near 520, right? That's what we're looking for today. Again, small size, folks, small size. And your key setups are going to look like this. You've got a volatility band and you have a double smooth stochastic, right? I've got the double smooth stochastic here on TrendSpider 333. As it gets to the top of these bands and then begins to move sideways and then breaks the ledge, that should give you a rolling over of price. Now, once it breaks the ledge, you're going to see them try to get up and over it, and then it's going to fade. Your thought is, hey, I'm moving up, away from the bands, a pull back into support. If I bounce and cannot head higher, meaning I see a couple of candlesticks that go, nope, not heading higher than that, you can take the short. What does the short tell you? Well, if I've got moving averages that are going up like this, the short event says, hey, you better just take that short into support. If you're looking for trending formations, we don't have them in the markets right now. Just saying, we really don't. Let's get to the cues. As they said, I think, I don't know who said it first. Maybe it was John Hoagland from Top Step TV. He said, this is kind of the environment where you see money, take money. Look at how different the cues look to the SPY. Right? SPY's almost a breakout way up here. The cues, look, they cannot hold this edge. We are seeing a rotation of prices away from the cues and into something else. What? I don't know. Could be energy, could be the broad SPY. It could be anything, but it is definitely rotating away from here. Now, we've had two triggers, this one here and this one here, right? What do we have? Support to resistance to support. That's what this formation is telling us. So who's on the hook here? That'd be buyers. So if you're looking at this and you go, hey, I'm above the 8, and that 8 is 444, right? I know that's well above my key support, which is around 442. If it pulls back into that 442, like it did yesterday, you can anticipate the bounce zone and trade it, but don't stay long thinking the price action is going to expand. It is not that type of formation. We have a downward sloping momentum event and a downward sloping VWAP event. We have an upward sloping trend. Trend is master and commander. And so the downward sloping VWAP says, you know what? I'm reverting to the mean. I'm reverting into this mean. And so that's really what we are looking at. We still have lower highs. The bounces, they're deeper, but they're still bounces. Okay, so what are buyers going to try and do? They're going to try and buy it down here. If they fade, look out below. If they hold, it's going to sit in this trap. What do I think? You know, volume's kind of low. I think they try to push it up into here. I think it's going to be very rangy, very noisy today. Look at the vol bands, right? See how sideways they are, right? Look at momentum. Momentum only is taking us into the second volatility band here. Over here, it took us into the second volatility band here, right? And so we are really sitting in a sideways action event. Very, very sideways. Look for the lower edges to buy, upper edges to sell, and then leave when that formation breaks, okay? All right, let's take a look at the ES. Futures are being used very actively to hedge. My supposition is we've got nothing but sideways formations. So I think the top sell here, just like I thought they would sell in, let's try and get that over there. They would sell in SPY. Here they are selling up here. But the pullbacks are buy zones, right? Steep upward motion here. So it's going to be a buy the dip event. Wait for the dip to try to buy. Let's say you wait for 52.96 and you go, yep, I'm buying it there. Not a problem at all. Here's the thing. Determine your risk and don't say to yourself, oh, well, you know, it didn't hold 52.96. Maybe it'll hold 52.70. I'm just going to stay in the trade. Very bad idea. How do I know this? I've done it 5,200 times and it sucks. It is a terrible thing to do, okay? Terrible. So I put another alert there. It's going to come on my phone. Let me know what's going on. All right. So those are the numbers. That's what we're looking for. Let's take a look at what the oh, nice. Okay. So this is actually very nice. Look at what's happening. Reversion to the mean. That's the 30. I'm reverting to the mean. So price action is breaking by time. It's not losing a low. It's not breaking a high. So it's broken the trend by time, moving sideways. They're going to do one of two things. They're going to break into the deeper support, or they're going to bounce into the resistance zone. So what do you want to do? Look for the break or look for the bounce, and then run it up the flagpole. If it breaks out over 58.03, you take it. If your charts, if your candlesticks start making lower highs, you're in the wrong side of the trade, or there's not enough momentum to keep you hanging on. Take your money and run. See money, take money, right? That's really, I think John Hoagland said that a few days ago. That's the kind of environment that we are looking at right now, okay? Levels, did I put the levels up there? Yep, I did. Let's jump to the NQ. Same sort of thing, folks. Take a look, right? Somebody's got a problem with Perlman, but whatever. I did not make that name. That just happens to be a name in there. So old resistance, new support. Look what happened yesterday. It came right down into that 18,377 number. And now it's bouncing. What's it bouncing off of? The 8 simple moving exponential moving average and the prior resistance zone, 18,439. So guess what? If that triggers again after a lower high, this chart is heading lower. What am I looking for? I am selling the bounces here, folks. I have downward momentum. I have a downward sloping VWAP, and I am locked into a price pattern. Am I going to try and do it in the middle of the noise here? But that would be no, because the wicks have been 60, 70 points high. So either I get my trade or I sit on my hands. Now, I'll be on fast markets today, so we'll be looking at a few tighter formations on the way up, but I do believe that that's what I'm watching. I am watching the potential to bounce off of this range and meander all the way up there, or per happenstance, it could easily end up being some sort of descending traffic line that says, you know what, you're going to have to pump the brakes at about 520, which meshes with an old volatility band and an old VWAP. All right, lastly, let's take a look at the YM. Let's go to the daily, right? These lines have broken through a fair bit. Let me expand so you can see what I'm staring down, right? What do we have? Lower highs overall, right? Lower highs overall. That's why this is yellow. This turns to green when I'm making higher highs, okay? Lower highs, resistance, 40,178. Listen, if it breaks through that area, it's going to trigger a bunch of buys to cover, and it could go all the way to 300. And then some. So, the Dow cash market has not broken above 40,000 yet. Nobody's doing anything there. We're going to sit tight, watch this, see how it goes. My thought is the following. I'm going to look up top here, and I am going to sell the highs. Why? Because I have damp momentum, and I dipped into a deep support zone, deep relatively, a breakout zone. And so my first bet is, because there's news that's telling us, hey, you need to sit tight into Fridays, I'm guessing traders are going to be landlocked in the space. All right? Could they move all the way up to 300, 40,300? Yep. The measured move has got 40,500 ahead of it there, but that's what I'm looking at. Let's take a peek at the volatility bands, see how sideways they are, right? We have some range expansion, but look at this. See how it's sitting in trend? Wait for the edges to break. If it goes up above this 40,178, it is very likely to run higher because this is bullish motion. If it breaks below this zone here, which is 40,090 or so, it's likely to come back and test that 40,000 region. All right? Good luck, everyone. I'll see you on the platforms.